We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
Ooh, what about a ranch hand?
Yeah!
Sure, that's a job for someone with autism too. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win. That's autismspeaks.org/win.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Linda Kenyon. Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is now the interim head of the government of Venezuela after President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured yesterday by U.S. military forces. Rodriguez responded to the capture as heard here through an interpreter.
We demand the immediate liberation of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, the only president of Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro.
The view of Venezuela's interim leader is quite different than that of President Trump, who says Rodriguez will partner with the United States.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is giving unqualified praise to the U.S. service members who carried out the mission that led to the capture and arrest of Nicolas Maduro and his wife.
The most sophisticated, most complicated, most successful joint special operations raid of all time.
The Maduros have been flown to New York, where they will be arraigned on charges including narco-terrorism. CBS's Scott McFarland with more on the charges.
The newly unsealed indictment against Maduro adds to allegations in a 2020 case, which alleged he worked to traffic drugs with a Colombian guerrilla group called the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC. The Justice Department also links Maduro's alleged conspiracy to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, which allegedly engaged in extortions, kidnappings, murders, and other crimes.
Maduro and his wife are expected to be in court on Monday. They are currently jailed at a federal facility in Brooklyn. Iran's supreme leader is speaking out about the ongoing protests in his country, insisting that rioters must be put in their place. The protests have been sparked by Iran's struggling economy and have been going on for a week. Violence surrounding the demonstrations have killed 2 more people, raising the death toll to at least 15. These are the largest protests in Iran since 2022. Iran's government has signaled a willingness to negotiate with the protesters. A final goodbye will be held this week for French cinema star and animal rights activist. CBS's Jennifer Kuiper with the details.
As far as the screen dares go with Brigitte Bardot.
Brigitte Bardot became an international celebrity in the 1956 movie And God Created Woman. She retired from cinema in 1973, became an animal rights activist, and was convicted several times in French courts of inciting racial hatred. Bardot lived in Saint-Tropez for more than half a century. That is where her funeral will be held on Wednesday. Officials say the ceremony will be broadcast on large screens in town.
Bardot died a week ago at the age of 91. This is CBS News.
I'm Major Garrett. Follow and listen to The Takeout on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-497-2323. That's 800-497-2323. Once again, that's 800-497-2323.
Scientists say we're closer to a simple blood test to detect the most common inherited heart condition.
Scientists from Harvard and Oxford are developing a blood test to find the markers for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM, a high-risk heart condition. The test will measure proteins in the heart that create poor blood flow and lead to heart failure. Caroline Ho at the Harvard Medical School.
Hopefully within the next decade, we'll have like a first pass of some type of blood test that will help us better understand HCM. And it might not just be looking at the proteins in the blood, but it might be looking at risk.
Brad Gibson for CBS News.
Congress returns to Capitol Hill this week after its winter break and will address major issues, including health care. Those enhanced tax credits that have helped Americans cover the cost of health insurance under the Affordable Care Act have now expired, leading to skyrocketing premiums for more than 20 million enrollees in the Affordable Care Act. Linda Kenyon.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Stop smoking, lose weight now without cravings, irritability, or your money back. Only $59.99. Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight. Stop smoking, feel great for only $59.99. Sunday, January 11th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Pittsburgh West and Green Tree. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Registration, 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
There may be a flurry around to start the day today. Otherwise, it looks rather cloudy for the second half of the weekend with a high of 30. Those clouds stick around for tonight, low 23. Before the chill breaks for tomorrow with plenty of clouds and a high of 45. Tuesday also looks to be mostly cloudy with some afternoon rain arriving, high 49. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Rob Fracks on the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, good morning. We are up and running for a Sunday, a lot to get to today. And we begin with President Trump saying in a press conference heard yesterday here on KDK with CBS Radio News that the U.S. would run Venezuela on a temporary basis during the transition and get the oil flowing. Hear, hear. 2 thumbs up from your Pratt Pack. And as far as the operation is concerned, even the honorable senators representing the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Mr. McCormick and Mr. Fetterman, are giving 2 thumbs up to the president and our military. You know, for many years, we have been involved in, well, wars and conflicts around the world. But it seems as though every time, going back to World War I, when it's over, we return empty-handed. Look, I'm not saying that we deserve anything, but there are certain things that have been taken from us, and we have simply just let it go, to the point where it has caused chaos in this country, meaning the oil industry won, especially in Venezuela, when you think how important it was to American companies many, many years ago, until things simply got out of hand, and those American companies were forced out. Everything that they had worked for the old-fashioned way by rolling up their sleeves was taken from them for nothing more than gain from this dictatorship and that regime, Nicolas Maduro, in Venezuela. But now the president is saying no more. We are going to take back what is rightfully ours. Listen, if we are a part of a global economy and we go to a country and it happens to be an American company that really makes it happen and reaps the harvest, well, that's the way it should be. That's an even playing field. But to let someone build up the reserve and make the cash and then simply say you want it because it's on your soil, even though you do not own that soil, it just can't be. The bully pulpit of Maduro is over. He is now no longer in charge. And Rodriguez, the VP, saying, yes, she is in charge, but I think the president will have something to say about that. And, you know, he's been pushing back on the president of Colombia as well, had some very harsh statements for him. and it all comes down to narco-terrorism. Think about it. Maybe there might just be something to what the president is talking about. Think about our country. When the manufacturing left in the 80s, the drugs started to pour in. We dealt with cocaine, heroin, crack, and it just decimated our country from coast to coast. And the majority of this stuff has been really provided by those horrendous cartels, and most of them are south of the border in Latin America. So now maybe we can start doing business, making money for our economy, putting people back to work, giving them a place to go, a career to build, a family to unite, and get rid of all of the poison that has been coming into our country for generations. So before you are so quick to rush to judgment, let it play out. Let's see what happens. And just maybe our president is going to red things up and put some money in our pockets too. Yeah, this has been an amazing 24 hours. You know, we hit the airwaves yesterday, and it was absolutely chaos. I mean, this thing splashed, and it was all over. Every major network was up and running live. There were features throughout the day, and obviously we carried the president's press conference here on KDKA. And the president, a little lengthy, going into a lot of things, talking about his administration and the accomplishments other than just that. But it was... of course, military might with the Colonel Kane. We also had Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio, all of them basically talking about this seamless operation. And I listened to the pundits into the late in the evening hour, so much so that I was not dialed into the NFL. I was actually dialing back and forth to Fox and MSNBC, or MS Now as it is known, and also Fox and others, and CBS throughout the night. Everything that they had to offer, I was all over it. And I just kept saying to myself, the one thing that I'm taking away from this is the military of the United States of America. And from what I understand, and we had Mr. McCausland, the CBS Radio, CBS News military analyst, who was gracious enough to join us live yesterday morning at 7:30, talking about how much time goes into an operation like this. Even the president said it was a go earlier, but the weather dampened things. They had to put it off. But I found out last night, listening to Fox and others, that they basically built the compound in which Maduro was in, including the steel doors that they were going to have to go through if he got into that safe room, which he didn't. And they just repeated it over and over and over. And in the end, the snatch and grab was done. He did the perp walk. He and his bride have been indicted, and it could be throw away the lock and key, like El Chapo and like Noriega. But what I love about this president, and I know many of you look at it as a pirate taking someone's treasure, but these were American companies that were in there producing a good livable wage, not just for Americans, but people in Venezuela. Why do you think so many people who have been displaced from that country are celebrating in states like Florida, holding parades, been up all night, basically in the streets, dancing, applauding, thanking the president? Because Maduro has been a henchman. He's been a thug. He's a criminal. And the president of Colombia better watch himself, too. Listen, these are ragtag governments that are put together by the criminal element. Many of them do not have traditional military that are guarding them. Many have people who are carrying machine guns and machetes who happen to be the member of a cartel. Look, we've let that go on long enough. And it's always been a war on drugs, but nobody has ever approached it as a war on drugs until this president came along. So I am thrilled, and I feel a sense of patriotism. And if you don't, well, maybe you need to get your head out of the sand. And I know I've heard a lot of people in government pushing back and talking about how it's illegal and it's a war crime. Hold the phone, okay? We actually did something for the greater good, a good deal for both sides, for our citizenship, and maybe those in Venezuela, when they get a chance to talk, they too will say, thank you. We have been under the thumb of Maduro way too long. And Rodriguez, I don't think it'll last long. I think it'll be a government that we help put in place. And as the president said, it will be temporary. We don't really want to own or run another country. We want to just make sure it's fair and balanced when it comes to business. And listen, no matter what any of you think, when it comes to war, military conflicts, intervention, a police action, it always comes down to business. And sadly, people can die in the process. Did not happen yesterday. Not one hair on any soldier of the U.S. was affected. That Delta Force was seamless. They were in and out. And now, Maduro and his bride are under lock and key. And they will face the full wrath of law when it comes to justice in America. Not my words, the Attorney General's words, Pam Bondi. We're going to be talking a lot about this as we roll into the week. We have an extra half hour of open talk at 6:30 this morning, and then tomorrow night, Tuesday and Wednesday night. But we're also going to be focusing on the other big local story. Tomorrow, my longtime friend, the son of Judy and Bob O'Connor, the former mayor, Corey O'Connor, will be sworn in at around 1 o'clock, inauguration ceremony tomorrow night. And we'll have some guests dropping by on the Monday night show in the 7 o'clock hour to look to the future in the city of Pittsburgh. Look, it's all about creating generational wealth. And we have an opportunity with everything in Western Pennsylvania with energy to do that. The Nippon U.S. Steel deal. And I truly believe an opportunity to get the oil flowing in Venezuela and start paying dividends for some American companies who richly deserve it, who paved the way and should reap the benefits. All right, 5:15, when the weather turns bad, turn to KDKRadio.com for up-to-the-minute news, weather, traffic information. KDK Radio Storm Center brought to you by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light, only on the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM, AM 1020 KDKA. Back with your phone calls next.
I'm with Joe Potocznik, JP Roofing and Siding. Congratulations, Joe. Triple Crown winner from Owens Corning.
Yes, Larry. We are proud to announce that we are recognized for service excellence, product excellence, and MVP based on marketing leadership and customer service.
Call Joe and his team. You'll get the best of the best. Get a free estimate for roof and siding replacements. Call the roofing replacement experts at JP Roofing and Siding, 412-829-7711. Congrats, Joe.
Thank you, Larry.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Pitt lost to Clemson College basketball yesterday, 73-68, and it was Penn State losing to Illinois, 73-65. Duquesne lost to Virginia Commonwealth, 93-80. Robert Morris taking on Oakland on the road at 3 o'clock. Penn's their 4th win in a row. They beat Detroit 4-1. Today they dropped the puck against Columbus on the road at 3. And in the NFL yesterday, Tampa Bay a winner over Carolina, 16-14. They have to get New Orleans to defeat Atlanta to win the NFC South. If Atlanta defeats New Orleans, it's Carolina that can claim the conference championship. And Seattle now is the #1 overall team ranked in the NFC. They get a first-round bye. They win the NFC West as they defeat the 49ers. Last night, the final 13-3. Steelers are a 3.5-point underdog against Baltimore. Winner against the AFC North crown tonight in Pittsburgh. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
You want a roof that doesn't leak? Of course, that's a given. You need a roofing partner with the experience and know-how to ensure the structural integrity and energy efficiency of your roof. Trust PJ Fitzpatrick with their 45 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. Our professionals install most roofs in just one day. PJ Fitzpatrick has a variety of financing packages that work with any budget. Visit trustpj.com today. That's trustpj.com.
Get connected. That's the Inside Connection this Saturday morning at 9 with your local Medicare experts from MediConnect. If you're turning 65, hear all the inside information available to seniors on the Inside Connection, presented by MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, time to go to work on the phone. Let's get going. It's Cynthia in Florida. Cynthia, how are you today? Hope you're feeling a little bit better.
No, but I know what I heard yesterday, and I sent you a video.
Yeah, I saw that. Why don't you explain that to the audience?
It was drones. And, so here I am in the United States. I know how Palestinians feel. There were drones that I heard in the distance. This is outrageous. But let's talk about drugs. Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was in prison in the United States for running drugs. We like our certain drug dealers. And he just interfered in an election in Honduras, where that man is from. When we went into Afghanistan, we supported Karzai's brother-in-law, who was running drugs into the United States after that war started. We're hypocrites. And, they're burning American flags in Europe. But people didn't hate us before. They seriously hate us now. Unbelievable. And we have no right to be telling anybody how to run their countries. We can't even run this one well. I've talked to you about the debt we're in. And we don't even have the money to pay the interest on that debt, and it's coming due. So I'll let somebody else get on. Oh, no, one more thing. Trump did a compilation of what happened in Venezuela, and he used the song Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival. That song was used during the Vietnam War protest. He's making fools of us, and he's made us have more enemies. So I'll let some other people get on. Thanks, man.
Hey, Cynthia, thank you for the call. Let's get to Ted up on Mount Washington. Ted, how are you? Good morning. It's another day in paradise, is it not?
Well, like I say again, it's great to be American. Look, Maduro was a thug. He was using his resources for terrorism, and he got what he deserves. Like I said before, I have to give a lot of credit to the military, but I really got to give a lot of credit to the President Trump. Like I said before, when he's wrong, I'll say he's wrong. When he's right, I'll say he's right. It's a big difference when it comes to foreign policy. This is why I like Rob. You have to have a strong foreign policy. And when it came to the last administration, former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates said it best about Biden. He was wrong, when it came to foreign policy for the last 4 decades. Biden didn't trust the military, and we got burnt in Afghanistan and all over the world. And that sent the wrong signal to our enemies out there. In case anybody doesn't know, there's evil out there that we have to deal with. And what Trump did, he was right on the money. And next, got to be Iran. It got to be Iran, man.
You know what I didn't realize, Ted, what I didn't realize that until watching a lot until late into the evening, the tie to Iran that Venezuela and Maduro had. I mean, they were like thick as thieves.
Yes, sir. That's why former President George W. Bush said he was tired of swatting flies. Okay? When you deal with dictators, guess what? They don't care. They don't have to reflect. They keep on doing their thing over and over again. And as an American, you have to have a strong foreign policy. That's the one thing that Reagan always said and pretty much taught the world. You have to deal with strength first before you negotiate. And for some reason, we fell behind in that, and we got into this protectionism crap, which is not us. I keep on telling you, Rob, you have to face your enemy. You have to do what needs to be done. And right now, we're the only superpower left. Okay? And like I said before, Iran has to be next. You topple that regime, the Abraham Accords will work. Israel is right, especially like Netanyahu's right. You can't have peace in the Middle East as long as Iran is supporting Hamas and Hezbollah. You cut the head of the snake. You get rid of that regime. You put in a government that's going to be stable, and you can have peace for 100 years. And this will be the best thing for Ukraine, too. They'll play right into Ukraine's hands because Putin overextended himself. He's pretty much stretched out like a rubber band. Even if he gets Ukraine, he will not be able to hold it. So this will help Ukraine by cutting all these enemies that are helping Russia and China. So we have to do this. So kudos to this president. And you know what? I was really impressed with Mark Rubio.
Me too.
He looked presidential.
Yeah, he did.
He really did.
I think he should be the guy the party should be leaning in on.
Absolutely. That's the Rubio I want to see. Someone that takes command, that knows what they're talking about. And he was absolutely right with Maduro. Maduro was given all kinds of chances, didn't want to take it. Well, him and his wife is in jail, and they should be indicted, and you throw away the key. And this is a message to our foes out there. We're coming after you. And like Reagan said, your enemies should not be able to sleep comfortable at night. Okay? They should never feel comfortable sleeping at night. So we're back, man, and I love it.
Well, here's the thing, too, that really amazes me. How, when you think about the drug culture, and you and I are old enough to remember, the 80s is when it really got bad, when the mills went down. And it started in L.A., it went to Chicago, obviously New York, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Baltimore. All that stuff really has made these cartels gazillionaires, and it's all come from places in Latin America. And if the president is serious, and we notice a big chunk of it going away after Maduro gets finally thrown out of office, rightfully so, as of yesterday, and maybe he does, make a point to go after the Colombian president and that government, wouldn't it be amazing if he actually neutralizes these cartels that have been basically running countries and doing what they want since the 80s and 90s? Wouldn't it be ironic in the end that if he actually does win the war on drugs?
Well, two things I would like. One, it directly affects our immigration policy. A lot of even illegal immigrants want to go home. Okay? They want to go back to Venezuela. They want to go back to Cuba. But they have corrupt governments. If we can topple those governments and give those people a chance, then guess what? They won't be able to sell drugs. They actually have a functioning society. That's foreign policy. That's what I want. We used to be respected around the world, Rob. We need to get our mojo back. Okay? People need to, hey, we're for peace, but also they need to fear us. Understand that if you threaten us, you bring your trash over to America, we're coming after you.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, Teddy, you just brought up. Maybe some of these immigrants that we don't want here, maybe some of them will just go back peacefully. Maybe they want to go back, like you said. Maybe they don't want to be here. Maybe the only reason they did come here was because of chaos in their country.
Look what's going on in Syria. You got people in Europe that's going back to Syria. Why are they going back? Because they have a chance of freedom. Okay? The bottom line, people want to control their lives. They want freedom. You liberate a country, and you see what happens. Look what we did in World War II to Germany and Japan. Okay? It took decades, but look at those countries. They're thriving, Rob. That's what we do. Okay? Same thing in Ukraine. They're fighting for their freedom. We got to be there. And we finally got a president that's slow. It took him a long time, but he's realizing that. You can't put your head in the sand and think all these things are going to go away. You have to act.
So how do you think he's looking at this as military action, patriotism, or business, or a little bit of everything?
All the above. You're trying to open up markets, okay? That's one thing, the only beef I got against is tariffs. When you open up markets, you don't need tariffs. Iran has some of the richest gas wells in the world, okay? You open up those markets, instead of using those resources for Hamas, Hezbollah, and terrorism, use it for the good of the country and also the world. People will not leave. That's what we do, okay? And like I said before, you look at the Marshall Plan. We built Europe up. If it wasn't for the U.S., Europe will still be devastated. Same thing with Japan. We built that society. We even made that constitution. Okay? It's functioning. That's what we do. But when you cut and run, you get the disaster of what you got in Afghanistan. And people around the world sees that and say, you know what? America won't be there. Well, guess what? We're back. We're going to be around for a long time.
So what do you think happens to Maduro? Lock and key, gone forever?
Yes, that thug is a thug. He's a drug dealer. He's a terrorist. And he deserves to be locked up, him and his wife. Believe me, the people of Venezuela, that's why they was in the street cheering. And they had American flags, okay, saying USA. That's what I want to hear, Brian.
I just don't understand why this guy didn't, like Marco Rubio said, he was warned. He had ample opportunity.
Yes. We gave him a chance. He didn't want to take it. Okay? And that sends a message to anybody out there who's a dictator that we're not coming for him.
I don't think
That's what we're coming for.
I don't think he's done yet.
He's done.
I don't think
He's in the ash heap of history.
I don't think so. I think there's other countries who've been bringing illegal drugs into this country that he's got on his mind, and he wants some of the resources back that American companies paved the way. Let's face it, a lot of these countries were dirt poor, didn't have anything. But when you had people like Gulf Oil going in there and creating great jobs, I mean, that's what really got their economy going. And they also decided to utilize the illegal drug money with these cartels to consider that as like a resource. But in reality, it's a crime. All right, listen, we're going to get to Stan and McCandless. Want to hear from you. Good, bad, and different. How do you feel about what happened over the last 24 hours? Getting rave reviews and some thumbs down, but for the most part, people are buying into the patriotism, buying into the business, and also looking at the strength of the President of the United States. 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. 866-391-1020. Coming back with more of your phone calls. CBS Radio News, just a couple of minutes away on KDKA with your Pratt Pack. Good morning.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's the KDKA Radio High School Basketball Game of the Week, powered by Bowser Chevrolet. Every Friday at 6, we bring you the best players, the best sounds of the game, and the best matchups in the WPIAL. This week, Mount Lebanon hosts Imani Christian Academy, presented by Invisalign. Allegheny Health Network Sports Medicine, official sports medicine of high school basketball, and brought to you by tobacco-free Adagio Health. Only on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99. Weight loss hypnosis Sunday, January 11th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Pittsburgh, West and Green Tree at 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis at 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. Walk-ins welcome. Register 30 minutes before.
When you're handling an estate or an inherited home, the decisions can feel overwhelming. At Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, we help families through this every single week. We make a quick, fair cash offer on the home, coordinate any cleanouts, help you through the process, and we'll buy it in its current condition. No pressure, no surprises. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057 for help selling today. That's 412-500-9057 for help selling today.
Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's local trusted home buyer since 2015.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-747-7676. 800-747-7676. Again, that's 800-747-7676.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today may bring a flurry in some spots to start the day. Otherwise, it looks to be cloudy with a high of 30. Those clouds generally hang tough for tonight with a low of 23. And tomorrow looks cloudy as well, but much less cold with a high of 45. Then clouds on Tuesday yield a bit of afternoon rain, high 49. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, here we go. Big weekend. We'll be back on Monday to talk about all things Colin Dunlap 2 to 6. Catch you on Monday. Right here, KDK.
All right, 866-391-1020. Talking about what has happened in Venezuela over the last 24 hours. Love to hear from you. Here's Stan in McCandless. Stan, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Rob. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Well, listen, I hope you're doing well. I want to wish you a Happy New Year. I hope you had a good Christmas. And haven't spoke to you for quite a while, but of course, you know, anytime something like this happens with a big-time news item, and, you know, I've said to you many times in the past concerning Donald Trump, you know I'm a big supporter of his. I'm a big patriot when it comes to doing things, and I support him because I feel in my heart that he always tries to do what he can to save lives, not lose lives, and not try to take over some kind of country and, you know, become some dictator like people say sometimes. But I got to tell you, man, this was when you broke this news item yesterday in the morning, first thing in the morning, I heard you, and some of the talking points that you made this morning were so insightful. You listed about five or six different things that you said about this action that was taken. Man, how can you not be so more proud of our special forces and, man, the Delta Force, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Marines? I mean, when you look at the military that we have, and this should be just a shining example to make Americans proud to realize that we just don't go in, and this was well played out, as you listen to, like you said, Fox News and different news programs that were on yesterday. This was well played out, well rehearsed. They just didn't go in there fly by night. But, man, apparently everything that they anticipated happening, how they figured it would play out, man, the script couldn't have been more perfect. But usually it doesn't play out like that, does it? I mean, you got to think, it really doesn't play out like that a lot of times. And sometimes things will happen differently than the way you planned out. But, man, I'm so proud to be an American. I'm so proud of our military. And it should really send a strong message to the likes of China, Russia, Iran, and others that are adversaries of our country. And so, I guess now the thing I'm looking forward to in coming days, I want to see how big this action was that was taken. How many of these so-called ships of theirs went down? How this Venezuela, the city was destroyed concerning what they did. We're going to find out a lot of things in coming days. So I'm anxious to see always, the Paul Harvey rest of the story, so to speak. I want to just see how this is all, and how it's going to play out in coming days and hear about what really came down. And so it's going to be a lot of fun listening. But like I told you, Rob, I've always been a Donald Trump supporter. Every American that's a pro-American should feel proud. And always you're going to have people that are going to oppose what he did and saying that he shouldn't have. But that's absolutely wrong. Anytime you take military action like this, you don't have to go to Congress to ask their approval.
Well, look, and this didn't happen overnight. This had been going. How long we've been talking about this? For months, and this guy had fair warning. I mean, something had to be done. It wasn't going to just stop with these ships because the ships kept coming. I mean, and I think Maduro thought popular opinion he would win out. And then he, making these remarks, come and get me, you're a coward. Well, he wished it on himself. And if he thought the president was going to back down, if anybody thinks this guy's going to back down, they better wake up and smell the coffee. He's not going to back down.
Hey, Rob, think about this for a second. You got they were worried about putting boats out there and bringing drugs in boats. And time again, he sent them out there. Let them come over, trying to come over, think they were going to get here, and they were going to do this. But he is like so many crazy dictators. Their pride will overtake anything else. They will never humble themselves to say, we're going to listen and heed the warning. They're just so full of pride and arrogance. And so you can't expect these people to change. You know, a leopard ain't going to change. A tiger ain't going to change the stripes. You know, it's going to happen because these people are so arrogant. They think they can get away with it, and I don't know. Their mental thinking isn't right because, again, they don't intend right. So just like Ted said, he was right. He got what he deserved. So that's the truth. I mean, it's going to come down to now dictators and people adversaries of our country are going to now have to assess this situation and think to themselves, my goodness, do I want to deal with something like this? This is why I say this is what a beautiful thing when a president is willing to follow through what he says he's going to do, and they don't heed the warning he gives. One thing about Donald Trump, if he says something, his words are louder than he of Hutton. You better listen to what he has to say because your day is not going to be good if he's coming after you. So it's going to be a bad day. So, hey, listen, you have a good one, man. Good talking to you again, my man, and enjoy you all the time.
All right, Stan, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Look, and we should, if we are sending men and women into any sort of conflict, any sort of battle, where there is gunplay, where there are weapons that lives can be taken, why not reap some of the benefits? Why not have the opportunity to actually get something for your effort, especially when it was an American company to begin with that really put them on the map as far as the oil industry is concerned? Why should we not be able to reap the benefits? In my opinion, it is time. It is time for America to rise above it and to take back what is rightfully ours. All right, Mary Hours, of course, First Alert Forecast. Mary, Happy New Year. Good to have you back. So, is it going to warm up a little bit? For how long?
It is. It is going to warm up a little bit. We're going to have temperatures back to the 40s and even the 50s. So a nice little January thaw here, but we'll have some rain along with it. But still some nice days. I mean, today it's still going to be right around 30 degrees, but we'll have partly sunny skies. Tomorrow looks pretty good, too. We'll make it to the low 40s, and then we're back to 50 Tuesday. We do have rain, and a lot of that snow is going to melt. It's going to be washed away. Wednesday looks like a good day to get out, even Thursday morning with temperatures of the mid-50s if you want to kind of take down those Christmas decorations outside. So it's not too bad.
You know, what's really strange is that a lot of people are saying, oh my, but really when you think about it, this is a typical Western Pennsylvania winter, is it not?
100%. It definitely is. I mean, we've had some really cold temperatures in December. We had some really warm ones. We had a good bit of snow in December, but we always get those nice days, a couple decent days in January where we can go outside and take down the Christmas decorations. So we just have to take advantage of it because it doesn't last too long.
Or in my case, I didn't even have any decorations or a tree for the first time in my life because I was so busy here at work. So nothing to take down. So I win there. But I must tell you, I must tell you, I kind of enjoy a little bit of snow for Christmas, and we've got, obviously, Orthodox Christmas coming up in just a couple of days, so it's kind of nice, but it's also nice to have a bit of a thaw. You know, the thing of it is, and that's what makes your business so interesting, because just when you think you've figured it out, you haven't, correct?
No, it changes every single day. That's kind of what I love about my job, too, is, you know, I love sunny and 70 in the summer, I'll tell you that. Like, it's a nice break. I like when we have calm weather, but also it's like, oh, okay, I know what's happening. Like, I know what I can plan ahead for because I know the weather, you know, a week or so out. So it's helpful.
All right. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough. It's always good to catch up with you. Any New Year's resolutions, or is it just business as usual, trying to get from day to day?
I'm gonna try. I know people are always like, I'm working out. I'm gonna try to work out, but I'm also gonna give myself some grace if I don't. So I'm just going to try to be healthier and try to be better, and just prioritize things with my family, and then prioritize my health.
Well, listen, you are a bright spot with a great future ahead. So you're going to be celebrating many of these New Year's weeks on the television side. So get used to it. You're a part of the Pittsburgh landscape, and we love you, okay?
Thank you.
Right. Mary Hours, KDKA Television. She really has become such a bright spot. And I could see her doing the Kuzma thing, being around for many, many, many years. All right, listen, we've got Joanne in Point Breeze. She always has something to say, and hopefully she'll turn her radio down before she gets on the air today. We've got room for you as well. Now, don't forget Tech Vibe Radio coming up. My old friend David Radin, you may remember, he and I did a show, one of the very first Pittsburgh work shows here on KDK years ago, talking about technology. He's an Ivy League grad. He lives in Mount Lebanon with his wife and family. He's brilliant, and he's going to be a part of Tech Vibe Radio today with the CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting, so look forward to that. And then no Catholic Education Plus this week. Father Burke will be back next week, so I'm going to be back into Open Talk. I got Mr. Dentisi en route. Frank will be here. We're going to record some spots between 6 and 6:30 that you'll hear next week. Doug's going to be back for another year, Organic Gardener at 7. Then Frank and I talking about classic recipes today. Can't wait for that on the Coons Cooking Hour. 9 o'clock, Tri-State Neuropathies, Dr. Sean Ritchie. 10 o'clock, Accurate Solutions. And then 2 hours of the Coons Market, Black and Gold Sunday Show. We got a long day till 1 o'clock right here, KDK. It's your Pratt Pack.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light. And brought to you by Butler Transit Authority. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. News Radio KDKA. Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations that serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Pitt lost to Clemson College basketball yesterday, 73-68, and it was Penn State losing to Illinois, 73-65. Duquesne lost to Virginia Commonwealth, 93-80. Robert Morris taking on Oakland on the road at 3 o'clock. Penn's their 4th win in a row. They beat Detroit 4-1. Today they dropped the puck against Columbus on the road at 3. And in the NFL yesterday, Tampa Bay a winner over Carolina, 16-14. They have to get New Orleans to defeat Atlanta to win the NFC South. If Atlanta defeats New Orleans, it's Carolina that can claim the conference championship. And Seattle now is the number 1 overall team ranked in the NFC. They get a first-round bye. They win the NFC West as they defeat the 49ers. Last night, the final 13-3. Steelers are a 3.5-point underdog against Baltimore. Winner against the AFC North crown tonight in Pittsburgh. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slap shot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan. Morgan & Morgan. Proud sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Offices Pittsburgh.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Outspoken, so I'll sit back and let her do what she does best. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning, and I don't have a lot to say. Did I hear him say they deserved that? These people went through heck one way or the other. Did we deserve 9/11 because our dictator leader decided to do this? No, those people didn't deserve this. And so, I don't think we're hearing the whole story, how many, exactly what happens. We're hearing what they want us to hear. So God bless America. No, those people didn't deserve it, and we didn't deserve 9/11. Thank you, Rob. Have a good week.
All right. That was short and sweet. Let's go to George in Clairton. Hey, George. How are you?
I would like to give props to, I don't know if you got me. I would like to give props to Joanne and Cynthia from Florida, formerly of Georgia, and formerly of Pittsburgh. We don't say it that way anymore. But I like their divergent thinking. I really do. That's what this country was built on. Just because somebody isn't in someone's whole rat pack, so to speak, no offense. It
No
doesn't
offense
mean that,
taken, brother. No offense taken. I'm glad to be associated with the Rat Pack. I'm glad to be associated with the Rat Pack.
Well, I'm talking about Trump's pack. I didn't really mean that. I dig that Rat Pack.
I know you did.
That.
Go ahead.
I'll sing New York, New York, we ever meet someday. That's my song.
There you
but
go.
nonetheless, I just want another to hear. And KDKA's had the monopoly on radio stations. I know it was TAE. You don't get any divergent thinking even over the airways. You really don't. And before I go too far into this, which I really didn't want to do, Mary Ayers, I think, is the best. I'll bite my tongue. I don't want to jinx her. I don't know if she's been around. I've known her for maybe 4 years. Her meteorological reports, and I'm sure there's a whole team that puts these together.
No. Listen, these meteorologists do it all on their own.
Do they really? Is that how they work?
No. Yeah, they do. They put it all together, all the arithmetic, everything, science. That's all them, man.
Very good. I tell you what, a buddy of mine went to school at Penn State for that. He never wanted to be relocated to Erie back then. That's where NOAA was before it got defunded a year ago. Or Atlanta was the big, and that's where the Weather Channel started, too, back in 90. I loved it all. I don't watch TV. You know that. I don't have time. But I did when it first come out. So kudos to them three, and to those who do call, but to those who have open minds. That's about all I got to say. Happy New Year, and I'm going to continue this because this has really been my mantra pretty much all my 69 and about a month.
Well, come on, George. You got to feel a little bit of patriotism for what this guy did. I mean,
and it's always a double-edged sword. I mean, I went over the end when we got involved with Kuwait the first time around. Not so much the second. I always wanted to know the second time. I say second, being in 02, 03. And you know my criticisms there, that whole Christmas of 02. Weapons of mass destruction. That wound up being a big farce. In the first one, I actually did one of my first or second calls to the editor. I write letters to the editor. Calls to the talk shows, and I spoke to the late Doug Hirth. We were talking now. He says at the end of July of 1990, what happened about 2 days later was my ex-wife's birthday, August 2nd, when Kuwait got invaded. What was going on in July, big news item, was the Keating Five. Okay, and that was Bush's son. It was my man McCain, who I did vote for, and a few others, three others. All went back to that Black Tuesday, junk bonds, all that stuff, savings and loans, okay? And Doug Hirth said nothing's going to go on that end until a big cover story, until something is something. He was getting real technical, I guess, with the way you guys do things in the media. And what happened on the second? We knew Saddam Hussein had amassed troops on the southern end of Iraq, ready to go into Kuwait. We knew that he always had a philosophy that Kuwait was a greater Iraq, which it really was, the same argument with Ukraine and Russia, okay? And we gave that the green flag, green light, because so we could just distort everybody once again. That's what always happens. That's the nature of the beast, especially in this country, especially in Western thinking. Rah, rah, rah. I'd like to see, Trump's polls today versus the polls from not yesterday, Friday. Friday, 74% in this country were against any invasion of Venezuela. Now that we're on the win, it looks like, I'd like to see those numbers right now.
What do you think they are right now? I think they're in favor of him right now, don't you?
That's what I'm saying. They were the opposite on Friday. You understand what I mean? Maybe I wasn't clear. I was told yesterday, just listening to my man, Mr. Bartley, that they were up to 74% in this country that did not want any invasion of Venezuela. And that had to take in First America Firsters. It had to take in MAGA people. And that had to also take in January 6th deniers. Remember, January 6th is only a couple days away, but it won't happen because it didn't happen before. All the deniers say it never happened. You catch my sarcasm, I'm sure. So I hope some of them call in today. They're still riding crest on this wave.
Here's the bottom line. We had to do something to this guy. This guy was pushing all the wrong buttons. He was basically thumbing his nose at America, kept sending these ships, whether he wants to admit it or not, basically threw Gulf oil out of the country, basically got rid of the American jobs, got rid of one of the top American companies, corporate entities that had a great footprint here in Pittsburgh, basically did what he wanted to do, dealt with these cartels, was polluting our country with drugs, sending all of his wannabes and has-beens out of his prisons into our country. He had to go. I mean, that's all there is to it. And Rodriguez is not going to run the country. Just not going to run the country. I understand
that part of it. That's the part that I don't want to get too head over heels patriotic about, because there's so many others we've just pardoned. And Cynthia even mentioned that. I don't even want to repeat that one. But when I was talking to you yesterday about this, and my man, the bishop, who's always out in the wings, he was that way when he was we worked together 20 years ago. We had talked about what happened in Venezuela, and this had been, I think, 2007. I still didn't look it up. When Hugo Chavez took over the media, the radio channels, and he took over the oil. And that's what I said. And the gentleman from Monroeville, Monroeville, that called in, said, I did mention that. It's the first thing I mentioned. Chavez took over and privatized or nationalized, whatever, all that stuff. So, I try to pay attention to this. I have a living, I still act out, which I love doing what I do. That's work for the CIA, right? And I also always paid attention to stuff when I was in the school systems. I mean, trying to have an open mind isn't always easy, but it's a challenge. It's my hobby, actually. I'm not making any money off of this, but I always have an open mind. I'm always up for hearing other people's discussions. I wish a lot of other people would do the same, because whatever we do in one country, we don't do it for another. Yeah, that's definitely conspiracy theory in my book.
All right, listen, Georgia, you have a great day. Always good hearing from you, brother. All right, listen, we're going to take a bit of a break here. We got about a half hour. We're going to do a little recording work with Coons Market and Frank Dentisi. You're going to listen to Tech Vibe Radio, my good friend Dave Radin, and then we'll be back at 6:30 to kind of pick up on the conversation. Rob Taylor is here, getting ready to go to work. He's got lots of news for you, and again, we'll continue with CBS Radio News to give you the latest on Venezuela. Look, I must tell you, this is not pleasurable. Nobody wants to talk about any country getting invaded. Nobody wants to talk about military action, because those soldiers are children of parents in this country who are waiting aimlessly to make sure that they are alive and well and coming back and things are going to be good with them. We live in a very difficult time right now. The world is upside down. But when you look at the timeline and how everything has been going in the wrong direction for as long as it has, there's got to be something to the connection to Latin America and all of these drugs. And how can these cartels rise to such power? Because they get into the pockets of these people in government. And what happens to these people in government, greed sets in, and it's all about the money, money, money. They have more than enough for 10 generations to live, but they just can't stop. They become intoxicated by it. And with that money comes power to them, and power is the ultimate corrupter. And that's what happens. And then they get so far upside down, they don't know how to get out of it. And it just gets worse. I mean, this guy literally was pushing back on President Trump. Maybe Joe Biden, you're going to get away with that. You're not going to get away with that with George W. Bush. You're not going to get away with that with Ronald Reagan. Maybe Bill Clinton tries to be the add diplomacy to the situation. Barack Obama, the same thing. But not Donald Trump. He's not a politician. When are you people going to realize that? He's a businessman. He is nothing more than the president who's the chairman of the board, the president, the CEO of the America that we love. And this is what has happened because the American people let him get back into office having 4 years removed. Why? Because they're dissatisfied with what's happening in America. Look, I want our democracy to, ring true, to live up everything that the founding fathers wanted it to be. But we got away from that for so many generations that the only way we get back is to be as tough as the founding fathers were when they signed that Declaration of Independence, knowing that if it didn't work out, they were not long for this world. The president is saying, look, if I don't figure this out, our country is not long for this world. And it isn't. It is not. We will never get to our 300th birthday. As we go into the 250th year of this country being formed, we have to take back what is rightfully ours, maintain within our borders, grow strength in numbers, use our resources, make things. But if this is a true global economy, and we are the one that set the bar, and we have places around the world that we spent the money and invested with American ingenuity and workers, and it was taken from us from these ragtag governments who are being bankrolled by illegal drug dealers, enough. Enough of being the puppet to the rest of the world. It's time that we become the puppeteer. All right, stay with us. Much more to come just underway. Rob's got that news coming up next at 6 a.m. on KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
And one of the things that you've heard a lot about, especially toward the second half of last year's changes in the healthcare world. CEO of MediConnect, we know him very well, Lance O'Brien.
Things get really, really difficult for some people. So who's being impacted the most? One is early retirees, and usually your middle class.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Berg with 6 Pittsburgh locations: Beachview, East End, Carnegie, Robinson, Southside, and Wexford. Always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today. Visit sliceonbroadway.com. New York style, yins are made. Sliceonbroadway.com. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's the weekly program that keeps you current with the latest travel trends and vacation values. Listen to AAA's Talking Travel every Saturday morning at 11 on KDKA Radio.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team when they discuss unique and unusual recipes. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 23 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 6 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. Former Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife are in custody and will face a judge later this week. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavidez has more on the mission to take Maduro and what comes next for the Latin American nation.
Capturing Maduro was an audacious snatch-and-grab operation in Venezuela in the early hours of Saturday morning. A swarm of U.S. military helicopters, special forces units known as the Night Stalkers, descended on Caracas. Explosions lit up the sky, and within 2.5 hours of U.S. forces touching down, Maduro and his wife were in custody.
This was a law enforcement exercise. It was the Department of War in support of the Department of Justice pulling out an indicted person who ultimately will face justice.
President Trump and his team watched the mission unfold from his Mar-a-Lago home. The president said the U.S. will take over Venezuela without explaining how that's going to work, how long it could last, and whether U.S. troops would be needed to do it. He also said the U.S. will take over the country's oil reserves. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Miami.
More than 100 people gathered in East Liberty on Saturday afternoon to protest the Trump administration's call to capture Maduro. The gathering, held outside East Liberty Presbyterian Church at Penn and Highland Avenues, was organized by the Pittsburgh chapter of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Some held signs that read, quote, "Endless war, shut it down." Another sign read, quote, "Peace on earth." Another sign read, quote, "No blood for oil." Those gathered questioned the true reasons for the capture, if it was national security related or an attempt to have more power over Latin America and access to oil. Similar protests were held across the country on Saturday. A rollover crash on I-70 sent one person to the hospital. The crash happened Saturday afternoon in Washington County. One person who was in the vehicle that rolled over was flown to a local hospital. No word on that person's condition this morning. Cause of the crash is under investigation. Major changes are coming starting today that will affect the daily commute of thousands of Pittsburgh Regional Transit bus riders. Here's News Radio KDK's David Ballarado.
The outbound bus lane on 5th Avenue, which runs against traffic in Oakland from Carlo to just past the University of Pittsburgh, is being discontinued. Instead, outbound buses will flow along with general traffic on Forbes Avenue. Eventually, the curbside lane on Forbes will become a buses-only lane. PRT Chief Development Officer Amy Silberman says this project is focused on efficiency.
Today, they get very bunched up because they have unreliable conditions. Once they get bunched up, we end up with big gaps in service where you might wait a really long time to then get on a really overcrowded bus.
PRT admits you should expect heavier congestion at first on Forbes, but